What's up, YouTube? Welcome to another episode of the Undergrad Forum. Now, in this video, we're going to talk about how to have good habits and how to study when you just don't feel like doing so. One innate reality in medical education is that whether you're in college as a pre-med or especially when you're in medical school, there is a lot to study. You have frequent exams, board exams coming up, schools, tests from your school. You have a bunch of things to always be studying. You're on the wards, you got to research your patients, you got to look up diseases, you got to study for shelf exams. It's essentially never ending. But, that's part of what we do. It's lifelong learning. That's what it means to be a professional. That's what it means to be a physician. And hopefully the things that you're studying, you like. It's fun. I think studying medicine's cool. And in particular, I like studying neuro. So it's a good time for me, But the reality is, as much as we all want to be physicians and like medicine and are excited in residency, you get tired. You're not always gung-ho to study. Some days you are, some days you aren't. So what do you do and how can you help yourself? So I read this book and I'm going to steal a lot of material from the book because I think what the book did was take a lot of my, the things that I did and my actions and my thoughts, and it kind of whoever the author was wrote them in a very clever way that makes it easier for me to talk about what I do and how I keep myself going. And I think these are all rules that are general enough that anyone can apply, whether you're in college, in medical school, in PA school, in dental school, pharmacy, whatever. I think it's quite ubiquitous. So this is the book the book that I read. I don't know if it shows. Let's see. I can just read it to you. I had the audiobook because I was driving in my car a lot and it was a lot easier just because I had commutes to read it this way with audio. So the book's called The Power of Habit, Why We Do What We Do in Life and Business by Charles Duhigg. It's a book that it was recommended to me when I was in business school getting my MBA. And I ended up reading it, or audiobooking it, whatever, and it was insane good, man. It's so powerful. It's kind of drawn out on how habits work, the different components of them, and how we can utilize the science of habits to help ourselves. I got what is it called? The link in the description if you want to check the book out, audiobook it, buy the actual book, whatever you like. So here's how we can help ourselves study when we don't want to. So one thing is just having habits that kind of get you in the style of doing it. I'm going to use a non-academic example before I give you an academic one to make it a little more exciting and also easier to understand. So take exercise, for example. If you have a schedule that allows you to work out in the morning, and you work out every morning, or you have a schedule that you leave school or work in the evening and then you get home and work out, you're much more likely to work out every day on a regular basis if you have a routine. And that's all really based in what's called having a good habit, or the habit loop. Again, I'm quoting that guy, so no plagiarism here. I'm just stealing his really good stuff in the book and whatever. So the habit loop begins with what's called a cue, the habit, and the reward. So something has to start your habits. Take exercising. For me, when I wake up, the very first thing I do when I get up is put on my socks and my shoes and go to the gym. That's my cue, is waking up and going. Because if I don't get up and go straight to the gym, if I dilly-dally around, if I start checking emails, I start doing this or that, I'm not going to end up going to the gym. So I have a consistent cue that gets me up and gets me going to the gym. Now, if you're thinking, okay, Mo, get to the study stuff, just follow me on this example. I know it's a couple minutes here, but it's worth understanding because this is an example that kind of makes sense and we're going to tie it in with the academics. So my cue in the habit loop is waking up. That's my cue, time for me to go to the gym. Or if you come home after school or after work and that's your cue, that's when you go to the gym. Whatever it is, it's for you. Then you have the actual habit or routine itself. And that's when you're at the gym, you're doing your routine, or doing your weightlifting or running or cardio, whatever. You do your stuff. Then comes a reward. You need to have a direct reward with whatever behavior you just did. That's how you close the habit loop. Cue, habit, reward, it has to be a circle. Wow, that looks so cute, a little thing there. And for me, the reward in this case is I like how it feels when I'm working out. I feel like I get accomplished whenever I do something, finishing a set on the chest or doing my shoulders and working hard and lifting, and then you feel pretty good about yourself. You're like, yeah, I finished that. For me, it's a sense of accomplishment. I like how it makes me feel, and I like how it kind of makes me look. So then when I get home, I can eat and I can refuel, and I like that. So my rewards in this habit loop are I feel a sense of satisfaction and accomplishment by doing the workout, and I enjoy eating healthy afterwards. And so that's the habit loop. But the question becomes, okay, if we're going to apply this to academics, how do you get this to work? That sounds like too easy, too good to be true. How do I stick to my habits? I can tell myself, whenever I get up, I go to the gym, I have a reward, I come back. Yeah, but what's going to keep you doing that for more than a week? And that's the concept of a cardinal habit. Again, I stole that from the book, not me, give that guy credit. And that's the idea that if you do something at its core, other habits follow. So for example, people would say exercising is a cardinal habit, or eating healthy is a cardinal habit. It can go both ways, because when I exercise every morning and I go to the gym and then I come back, I don't want to eat crap. You typically want to eat healthy because you're like, man, I just put all this work in the gym and I'm exhausted. I want to eat something that's going to benefit me and give me gains and work out my heart in a healthy way and eat good food. I don't want to dump into McDonald's right now and ruin my whole workout. So having something that you do, in this case the exercise example, which is exercise, or eating healthy, makes other things stick. So if you keep eating healthy, you feel better about yourself, you're going to keep exercising, you're going to take the stairs, not the elevators, you will drink less. If you smoke, you'll hopefully stop. Whatever it is. So once you have a few, the cardinal habit, which in this case we're going to call exercise, is there, you'll eat healthier, you'll do everything else, and as a whole, these things make the habit stick, and it makes exercising stick, and much more likely that you'll stick to it. So now I've talked to you for 7 minutes about this. How do we get it to academics? Thank you for all those who paid attention. So here's what you do. Now, because I'm going to keep going back to that exercise example to make the academic thing make sense. So now it comes time for you to study. You need to figure out what's your cue to get you to start studying, the actual studying itself, and then you need a reward. So you have different options. Depending on when school starts, it's kind of your big thing. If you're in the first or second year of med school in the basic science, or if you're in college, which is like basic science, you're in the classroom setting, you got to look at when your school is, when you're starting classes. So if you have early morning classes, it's, unless you want to get up super early and study beforehand, it might be hard. But if that's capable to you, or if your classes start a little later, your cue can be I wake up, I take a shower, and then I eat, and then I start studying. Or I just wake up and I start studying, or whatever it is. Your cue could be as simple as waking up. That's like my cue for exercise. I wake up and I do it, and then I do it every time. The thing is, if you wake up and don't start doing your studying, it gets really hard to start it later because your body is used to that cue once you establish it. But more likely, I think you're not going to be studying that early in the morning because usually you have 8 or 9 o'clock classes unless you want to get up at 6 and study, which I recommend because I think it's easier to study in the morning. The cue could be your wake up, or you could get up in the morning, go to the gym, do whatever you want, or just go straight to class, go through your classes, and then come home at the end of the day. Then your cue is I'm back, and your cue could be I get home and I start studying, or I get home, I go to the gym, I get back, I shower, and then I start studying. Whatever it is, the power of routine in this case is your winner. Because once you're in a daily routine, you do tremendously well. I'm going to give you an example. I remember both for step 2, I did this really, really well. Me and my friend every morning at 8 a.m. would arrive to the, the library. We would have our lunches with us. We'd be there at 8 a.m. We'd study. We'd take a lunch break at noon. We'd jump right back in. We'd study until the evening. We went home. We probably did something mildly academic in the evening. We went to bed and we rinsed and we repeated. So every morning we woke up, we went to the library, we studied together, we did our lunch, we studied some more, we went home, we read something, we went to bed. Every single day. That routine, the cue for me was I get up, I go to the library, and I start working. Getting up and being at the library every day was my cue to start working. And it worked flawlessly because it became subconscious. I just naturally did this every single day. It was easy. Same thing for your basic science studies. You get up, you go to class, you come home, you could then, just go straight and go into studying. Or you can go to school, go to the library, start studying. Whatever it is, the whole idea is have a consistent routine. As much as that is boring, the benefit of the routine is it's one less thing for you to think about. All you have to do is get up, go to your lecture or classes, come home, and start studying, and then that becomes the click. So whenever you walk, if you force yourself to do that for a week, the beauty of this is now you'll walk through the door or you walk into the library after classes, and you automatically switch over to it's time to study. You don't have to even think about it anymore. It doesn't become a hurdle. It becomes a natural routine. Just like when you put a shirt on and you start buttoning it automatically, you enter your house after school, you enter the library after school, you automatically start studying. And the beauty of automatically starting studying is that it builds like a system of habit for you. To give the example of when I was studying for step 2, whenever I entered the library, I went to my desk and cubicle and I studied there, and I did it every time. And that brings up the concept of having the same place to study every time. If you're always mixing and studying at a new place, I think when I was in college they advised against that. I think our psych course told us study at the same place every time. I even think the learning experts in my medical school told me that as well. And that I think makes sense, because going with that example of our step 2 studying, I would get to the library in the morning and me and my friend would study at the exact same cubicle every single day. We would get there, he'd go to his cubicle, I'd go to mine, and we'd do our routine. The beauty of that is when you get home, or if you get to the library after school and you sit down at that desk, your brain already knows what to do. It's like, okay, the cue is it's after school and I just got into the school or the library or wherever I am or home and I'm at my desk, it's study time. You don't have to get yourself started. And I think that's the thing that all of us can feel with, is the hardest part of studying is probably getting started. Once you're in the groove, you're moving, you're shaking, you're making things happen. But getting yourself started is the biggest hurdle. And having that cue and having the same place every time just makes those barriers lower so you can get right into getting your work done, and it makes it smooth. So the cue, we talked about the importance of it, having it be, if you wake up in the morning, you get to work, or get to studying, school ends and you go home and you sit at your desk, or you go to the library and you sit at your desk, and same one every time. That can be your cue, whatever it is, and then that begins the habit and you study. We won't talk about how to study because I've done countless videos on it at this point. Watch the old ones, but I think just a simple one-liner is study for an hour, take a 5-10 minute break, study for an hour, take the 5 to 10 minute break. There are really fancy techniques like the Pomodoro technique, which I have heard of, but I haven't done much of it. It's a little bit more of an exact one than my simple study for an hour, take a 5 or so minute break. But that's all you got to do. That'll be your habit, that'll be your studying, that'll be getting things done. And then you need a reward. And that, to some degree, is going to be a sense of accomplishment. And that's what it really is for me. Just like the gym, exercising your brain is like exercising your body. You really feel accomplished because, you were in class and you covered all this heart pathology, and then you get home and then you're like, okay, I got to study all this stuff. Thankfully, I have a cue. I sit down at my desk. I start my studying. I take little breaks after every hour or so. And at the end of it, you finish a big chunk of work, or you finish a bunch of studying, or you do your flashcards, or you do your cue bank, and you're like, man, I'm getting stuff done. That's very rewarding to me because I see myself moving towards my goals. I see myself accomplishing tasks that I need to do. It's like getting things done on a checklist. It feels good to check things off. So if your assignments were today we had a lecture on heart path and we had some neuroscience stuff and some pharmacology, and you review all that and you study it and you check off all that stuff, that's very accomplishing. It feels very good. Or another reward could be you could go watch Netflix now. You could go to the gym. You can go hang out with your friends. Whatever it is, make sure you have a reward after you're studying, because you need to reward yourself so you keep that habit loop going. If you just study and you don't feel accomplished, or you don't give yourself something nice at the end, it's going to be hard to keep studying because you feel like you're not getting much out of it. So let's review really quickly. You're going to need a cue. You can get up in the morning and start studying before classes if it's available, or you can use it right when you get home after classes at the library or at home. That's your cue. You get home and you start work. Or whatever it is for yourself, you can modify it. It could be, you put exercise in between there. You could end classes, go exercise, and then get home and start studying. Whatever, you can modify it obviously for your own schedule. So the cue, wake up or get home from school, start work, study at the same place every time, makes it easier for your brain. Now we've done those two things. We start studying, we take our breaks appropriately, and we give ourselves a reward. Don't just think about external awards. I don't think that's too healthy. Make yourself feel accomplished. Make yourself feel happy about what you're doing, and then you can always have rewards kind of like built inside of you. That may take time to develop, but I think that's important. And they can, of course, also be external rewards, such as going out or watching TV or whatever you want. So I hope this helps, guys. It talks about how to study when you don't want to. Okay, if you're in a rut and you're like, man, I don't know how to study, start working on these habits. This is more of a longitudinal way. It's not a quick fix. Just like a lot of things, there aren't many good quick fixes in life. There are some, like antibiotics, but for the most part, there aren't a lot of quick fixes, and you kind of have to struggle and have a longitudinal, long-term plan to make things stick and work well. And if you're in medical education, you're going to know that it takes, it's a long process of learning, so you want good study habits to pull you through all that training. So when you're in a study rut and you can't, start working on establishing good habits, developing a good cue, having the same place to study, giving yourself quality rewards so you keep studying and you're progressive and you keep moving towards your goals. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and you got something out of it. Leave any questions down below in the comments if you have any. Go on our Facebook or Twitter, put questions there. The community can try to help each other out. Guys, feel free to talk to each other and help each other out. And as always, enjoy your studies.